It's time for your statewide Alabama weathercast.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Drew McCombs with the Alabama Weather Network, and this is your mid-morning forecast update for the whole state. And we've got our sky watchers sending in some beautiful pictures as usual. Heather Cofield in Oxford sending in a nice rainbow picture from yesterday afternoon. You can see beautiful rainbow there with just an isolated shower in the distance, and we saw just enough isolated showers yesterday to get a few rainbow pictures. But again, most of the state just had the blue skies overhead and nothing much going on. But again, we always love you sending us your pictures, and it's especially easy if you do it as a sky watcher. So we have for this month, for the month of October, a sky watcher photo contest. So you can see that the way this is going to work is basically each day, if you want to send one each day, we ask that you send us a nice current weather picture, the best one you got from the day. And you don't have to send one every day, but we just basically ask that you don't send more than one a day. And then at the end of the month, we'll pick a winner, and the winner will receive a Davis Vantage View personal weather station, which is a nice personal weather station that you can use to then send your daily weather reports to us. And that's going to end again at the end of the month. And if you're not a sky watcher, you can apply at spanskywatchers.com. And then you can participate. So again, we encourage you to do that, and we're always looking forward to seeing your pictures. All right, satellite and radar looking pretty calm across the state. Again, we've got a few clouds in kind of the central spine of the state here and down towards the south as well. A few little showers trying to show up in parts of Perry County there, moving kind of towards in the direction of Demopolis, but generally it is very dry across the state again this morning, and most places seeing a good bit of sunshine. Cherokee is one of those places at 76 degrees there. Hard to find a cloud out there. There's lots of blue skies there and a little bit more moisture in place there in Cherokee with a dew point around 69 degrees as compared to Bald Rock, which is seeing a dew point of 61 degrees. So a little bit drier air there. You can see some clouds off in the distance, but overhead, blue skies, clear blue skies at 74 degrees. Pretty beautiful morning to start off with a little bit of a breeze at Bald Rock. Down in Jefferson, looking towards those couple of showers up to the northeast, you can see maybe a little bit of clouds in the distance where those showers are, but over the camera there in Jefferson, it is blue skies as well. And then moving down further towards the coast, Point Clear looking beautiful this morning, looking out over the bay. Nice little breeze happening there, the east-northeast, and the temperature's at 71. Dew point's not too bad at 64 either. So again, we're going to see a little bit of a decrease in the dew points the next couple of days, which will be pretty nice. And we'll see our low temperatures in the morning go down a little bit compared to what we're seeing this morning. And this is what we saw from our sky watchers. Got down to 64 degrees for both Justin Gentry and Jemison, and Christopher Owens and Morris. Jeff Drake and Bessemer got down to 66. Duncan Hope and Independence got to 65. And Don Culver and Rainbow City got down to 68 degrees. Again, we expect to see some readings well into the 50s as we get into the latter part of the week. And that's what we're watching here for the rest of the day and this week. The highs will be staying in the 80s, but lowering towards the end of the week. So we expect, a little bit cooler highs in some places, maybe only getting in the upper 70s in some of the coolest days, maybe on Friday. And then cooler nights again, lows getting well down into the 50s, maybe even low 50s in a few spots in North Alabama. Showers remaining scarce, though, through the end of this week. We'll see an uptick in rain chances as we get into the weekend, especially in the southern part of the state. And that'll spread a little bit further north early next week, but still not looking like widespread significant rain in most parts of the state. Temperatures right now, we're generally in the 70s at 77 in both Coleman and Huntsville, also in Clanton. It's 81 already in Demopolis, and it's already 80 in Chatham, and also in Mobile. It's 82 degrees in Gulf Shores, looking like the warm spot so far this morning. Looking at futures cast, you can see you've got clouds showing up and being forecast, and then there's those just isolated showers trying to show up, especially in the western and northwestern part of the state this afternoon. Again, anything that forms will be very isolated, fairly brief, fairly light, and maybe a few more rainbows out there, but you can see the vast majority of the state still staying dry today and warm. And then again, we're starting to see this easterly flow here as we get into later on tonight and into tomorrow. That's going to be pushing in that drier air, so that by tomorrow, we really don't expect to see hardly any showers across the state at all. It should be basically completely dry across the state. Maybe a speck or two trying to show up down there in the southern couple of counties, but generally tomorrow should be pretty much completely dry, and we expect it to be mostly dry as we get into Friday as well, again, outside of maybe a couple of isolated showers in the southwestern part of the state. But generally the next couple of days after today will be almost completely dry, even though, again, today will be pretty much dry for just about everybody. Looking at our forecast wind gusts, it is going to be kind of breezy though the next couple of days as we get this easterly flow into place here. So you can see there's some wind gusts forecast over the next couple of days in the 20s. Again, these are the gusts, not the sustained winds, but especially the southeastern portion of the state as this high pressure builds down from the northeast and we start to see this northeasterly or easterly flow. We'll have some pretty breezy conditions for a good portion of the mornings and into the afternoons as we move through the next couple of days. So that'll, compounded with the drier air, will feel pretty pleasant out there a lot of times. One impact, though, that's going to not be as pleasant, I guess, will be along the coast with that increase in the wind speed. We've got some coastal alerts that have been issued for mainly starting tomorrow morning. So you've got in the blue here, extending from basically Destin, Fort Walton back towards all the way to kind of to Dauphin Island here. You've got a rip current statement, and that's basically in effect from tomorrow morning through Sunday. So it's going to be several days here where if you're at the beach, you just probably want to take it easy and stay out of the water, especially don't be getting too far out into the water. And then also there is a small craft advisory here for that same kind of area out offshore, which just means there's going to be some heavy swells out there, and it's not going to be good days for getting out on smaller boats. All right, looking at our future cast a little bit further out here as we move further into the weekend. Again, you can see that we have that northeasterly flow as the high builds down here, but then we start to see a few more showers trying to sneak in, maybe southern and eastern parts of the state as we get into Saturday. And then as we get into Sunday, again, we've got this little developing trough in the Gulf that starts to bring a little bit more rain and increases the rain chances, especially in Mobile and Baldwin counties. And again, the southern part of the state would have a little bit better chance as well. But as we get into Sunday and into early next week, we expect that we'll see those rain chances increase a good bit in those couple of counties in the southwest. And you can see that reflected in the rainfall outlook here. So places like the Gulf Shores right there along the coast in Orange Beach, Dauphin Island could get up over 2 inches of rain over the next week, but it cuts off pretty quickly as you go further to the north, so that by the time you get to Atmore, maybe only a quarter inch of rain. So again, it's going to be pretty confined to the immediate coast, but you can see a few more better chances of rain in the southern part of the state. But generally the northeastern part of the state still expected to be pretty dry over the next week or so. All right, so here's your 7-day forecast for North Alabama. We're looking at, again, pretty warm out there still for today. Expect to get into the mid to upper 80s. Very, very small chance of showers. A couple of them possible out west. And then you can see, we start to see those temperatures bump down a little bit with that drier air moving in from the northeast, and especially those lows getting down into the 50s. And so again, very dry, looking like a nice weekend out there. And then as we get into the early part of next week, a little bit of an uptick in the shower chances as we start to see a little bit more of a southerly flow. And again, we'll hope to get a little bit out of that, but not looking like a whole lot for North Alabama. For South Alabama, similar story for the next couple of days, going to be warm, but we'll see a smaller back down in the temperatures. Probably not going to be seeing lows down in the 50s, but a little bit lower into the 60s. However, a little bit better chance of the rain chances ticking up as we get into the late weekend and early next week. Again, that's especially the far southwestern portion of the state, but a little bit further to the north as well. Well, that is your Alabama forecast for now. We appreciate you watching us here on the Alabama Weather Network.